Hi, my name is Lana, and I am with Apostolic Moral Purity's Hope for Healing Betrayed Wives group. And I am here to talk to you on the topic of trust. So we just had a conversation about this recently, and I'm here to do a part 2. And today's topic is going to be a little bit different because today I am going to address the betrayer more than the betrayed spouse. So I want to talk to the betrayer from the perspective of the betrayed spouse on the topic of trust. So I know that if you are the one who has done the betraying, it can be really difficult to figure out what it is the betrayed spouse is looking for when it comes to rebuilding trust and communication and all of those things. So hopefully you could go back and see the first video that talks about trust and the important steps to rebuilding trust, because it does take both parties involved in rebuilding trust after that trust has been broken. And I talked in the last video about the hurt and the pain that the betrayed spouse feels whenever they have been betrayed by the person that they thought would be there for them. They thought would never break those marriage vows. And now they find themselves in a position of being hurt and those vows broken. And so there's a lot of confusion, a lot of pain and trauma that comes from that betrayal. But speaking now to the betrayer, what can you do to help rebuild that trust? Well, first of all, it's very important to understand that you can never act in a way that will cause someone to trust you if you do not understand what they think, feel, need, desire, and fear. So understanding is a very important component for you to reestablish trust with your spouse. And speaking from the perspective of a betrayed spouse, a lot of times all we're looking for is just for someone to try to understand us. And, Proverbs 18:13 says this: to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. And there is a saying that I love to use that I feel like, if applied more regularly, would help a lot of marriages. And that is, seek to understand before being understood. So if, as the betrayer, you could work on just seeking to understand your spouse, seeking to understand what they're thinking, what they're feeling. You're never going to understand what they really feel and what they're going through, but just doing your best to understand what they're feeling, understand their fears. There's a lot of trauma and triggers and PTSD and those things that are involved with betrayal. And doing your best to try to understand those things and educate yourself on those things would go a long way in reestablishing trust with your spouse. And then there's a few building blocks to trust that I want to discuss briefly. The first building block to trust is honesty. People who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. So being honest, and that seems like a no-brainer, but whenever there has been betrayal involved, sometimes honesty is very easily overlooked. Learning to be honest in the little things. It's the little things that matter. If you are driving to work and you normally take a right, but on this day you take a left, you need to be honest. You need to be accountable. Little things add up. Little acts of honesty that may seem very insignificant to you will go a very long way with your spouse in reestablishing and rebuilding that trust. The second building block to trust is consistency. Every little thing counts. The ultimate cause of betrayal is just a series of poor choices. So consistency, being consistent in the daily, the little things, every day, consistency. So remember the consistency. And then the third building block to trust is time. It takes time to rebuild trust. Trust is not something that happens overnight. You are not going to build trust overnight initially. And once that trust is destroyed, it's not going to be rebuilt, in a day. It's going to take some time to rebuild that trust. And it's not time that heals, but it's how you spend that time. So as you're in the process of rebuilding the trust and the time that it takes to do that, you're not just sitting around waiting for trust to happen, but you are working to rebuild that trust. What are you doing with that time? You should be involved in support groups, recovery groups, working faithfully during that time to rebuild that trust. And that's what AMP is for. We are here to assist both sides of the marriage. We're here for the addict and we're here for the betrayed spouse. We have groups for both sides. And so if you need help, if you're the addict or if you're the betrayed spouse, please reach out to us at apostolicmoralpurity.com. There is a contact link there. We have recovery groups for the addicts. We have support and recovery groups for the betrayed spouse. And we can get you connected to the proper groups and get you the help that you need. Our motto is never alone, because we believe that nobody should ever have to walk this road alone, and that you should always be able to get the help that you need. And we are here to assist you in any way that we can. We believe that there is hope, that there is healing available, and we're praying for you. And we want to see every marriage restored. We want to see every marriage healthy and whole, and every individual healthy and whole. So please, if we can help in any way, reach out and let us know. And we're praying for you. God bless you.